Humans, you may not cuddle. Humans, you may not be emotionally available. Humans, you smell weird. You don't listen and you might be finished too early. Don't worry, it happens to a lot of species. But humans, you give great headlines. As a bird journalist, an avian cub, a fowl contributor looking for a good story out there in your world, I'm looking to you because the rest of the animal kingdom can't make news for nothing. Squirrels, remember where their home are? That's not a chyron. Duck quacks off at tourists. That's not a headline. That's a breadline. Raccoon steals trash. Who doesn't? But you humans, in your day-to-day, you don't even have to try. From the door to the car to work and then back, no matter how little you get, you give back-breaking, knee-quivering, sheet-soaking headlines, and I'm here for it. Thank you for making it easy and breezy to be a bird in your world looking for the scoop, because I don't have to look far, just at you. Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. The headline read, "Man who didn't want to look after girlfriend's pet sent bomb threat to cruise she was on." Back in January of 2024, whomever is reading the emails at Carnival Cruise Lines got a wild one. Not because it was longer than whatever Tiffany needs to tell you something but can't say it to your face even though she knows it's not worth the drama, but because it said, quote, "I think someone might have a bomb on your Sunrise cruise ship." And though that sounds like an awkward flirt, it set off the alarm on the Sunrise, which had just departed from Miami towards Jamaica. And so the personnel had to do the thing and search over 1,000 staterooms, and the ship was escorted back to port. All of this, it turns out, was because a 19-year-old Michigan man who was living with his girlfriend's family at the time was so torqued off that he had to stay home and watch the pets while they all went on a cruise that he called in a bomb threat, beaching the cruise liner, sending them back to Michigan. And on April 15th, 2025, it was announced that he will, in fact, be going to prison for 8 months. Could have been 5 years, so really that's a win for him getting 13.3% of a 60-month sentence for a federal offense for ditching him for Jamaica, stranding his ass in Michigan in January. I mean, I get it. But really, it's the crew that paid the ultimate price. Because have you ever been on a cruise? Do you know, someone said yes, so you know the sick, there's kids here, so stuff people get up to in their rooms on a cruise ship. You know how they say what happens in Vegas because a lot of it happens in Vegas? Now put that on a boat coming out of Miami going to Jamaica in January and imagine the what happens that happens behind closed doors on that musty floating bang tanker. That is a singular level of hedonism matched only by a drunk, just divorced aunt at a wedding. And there's Midwesterners on there ditching the January freeze, flocking like horny geese to the coast. Take all that and put it out to sea where no one can hear you, Shiraz. The Red Frog Tiki Lounge on that boat has a drink menu that sounds like dance options at a tropical themed strip club. Sangria Swirl, The Cruiser, Kiss on the Lips. Plus, it's just Diet Caribbean synth tunes 24/7. That's musty music to anyone fleeing a Michigan winter. And you're trapped. You can't leave. You're out to sea. The only option is chapstick and enough Fiji water to make sure you don't have a heart attack because they're not coming to save you. It's the White Lotus in Margaritaville. And that little knob had the gall to call in a bomb threat and make that innocent, resolute crew toss rooms on that looped-up, ocean-bound hostel, all because he didn't want to watch his girlfriend's pets. Do they not have the word no in Michigan? I only hope that Carnival Cruise has adequate mental health services available to the crew that has searched the rooms, let alone clean them on the daily. Those poor, noble, seafaring lads don't deserve the haunting visions they no doubt had to endure. Why, no, going to the ocean was an honor back in the day. And you've gone and soaked it in pink drinks and vanilla-scented regrettable hookups. Gods be angered! So yeah, that kid's in jail. And that relationship's probably done. But I don't know, you do a lot of weird stuff, humans. And thankfully, somebody catches you and gives us all in the animal kingdom the glory of the story without the PTSD. Humans, you give spectacular headlines. And that was not the only one I thought was the bomb. February 14th, 2019. The headline reads, "Bathroom warning mistaken for bomb threat at Kansas Home Depot." On Monday, February 11th at 12:15 p.m. in Wichita, Kansas, where we lay our scene, the police were called to the Home Depot in question because an employee had been standing at a urinal, heard a bomb threat from one of the stalls, told security about it, security called the police. Another store clerk recognized the human in question that had been given the threat as a, quote, regular customer, gave their name to the police, who then called them and questioned them, only to find out from said regular customer that what they had said in the stall at the Home Depot that employee overheard was not, in fact, a bomb threat, but, in fact, a warning to another human in a different stall, quote, "Y'all need to get out of here because I'm fixing to blow it up." Meaning not only nay, no, nay, that he had an explosive device on him, but in him. It wasn't about to detonate a bomb, but instead bust hard ass, which we've all experienced. And frankly, he deserves a hero's thank you, because the Home Depot restroom is a special kind of situation. Because having to poop in a hardware store is a special kind of dire. Most hardware trips are for screws and light fixtures. Either that human had been locked in for several hours looking for the right kind of wood for whatever large-scale construction job he'd been sent to supply, or he'd just come from lunch. And most Home Depots are within sprinting distance of a Golden Corral, Red Robin, or local Indian place. And he just misjudged the timing and had to pull in for a light bulb or something. It was Valentine's Day the next day. But that is no reason to visit a Home Depot. So it must have been all business. But that couldn't have been his only option for taking a tanker to drop his cargo. It's not like Home Depot is noted for its pristine bathroom options. So best I can figure after Googling is that this guy was crushing a loaded BBQ mac and cheese and Modelo's at Side Pockets. He got too drunk to drive, but not too drunk to poop. And you're not going to incinerate the bathroom at a Side Pockets on a Monday at noon. Everybody's going to know it was you. There's like 5 people in there with staff. So instead of dropping hot Monday dumps near family, he has precious minutes to find the nearest public stall free of shame within jogging distance, because anyone crushing Modelo's and mac and cheese at noon on a Monday doesn't sprint. But the countdown has begun. The clock is ticking, Jack Bauer, so he Google Maps. There's no way he's going to Papa John's. Do they even have public restrooms? But luck was on his side, because if you do, in fact, and you can do this at home, Google Map Home Depot in Wichita, Kansas, you will find that it shows its public bathroom as a location on the map. This is, of course, if the Home Depot in question was the one on McCormick Avenue, not on Woodlawn Boulevard. But I think I'm right, because that one's next to a YMCA and an elementary school. Though it is within jogging distance of the Hog Wild Pit barbecue, so really it's dice toss. But anyway, he leaps carefully, because he's armed at this point, side strides across the parking lot and makes it just in time. But he's a gentleman. He's a good human of the people. He's not here to offend. That's why he left Side Pockets in the first place. He warns anyone nearby that he is, in fact, about to, quote, blow it up. And anyone ever had to exercise a daybeer demon knows that that's serious. And we need to clear the building. Anyway, no charges were pressed, because why would you? The only thing this guy is guilty of is quick thinking and relying too much on the bathroom at Home Depot's proximity to mac and cheese and Modelo's, because they recognized him as a regular. But hot poops and cool heads be damned. Humans, you slob the best headlines. But perhaps the most hottest brag-worthy to the guys at the country club headline you ever gave me thus far. I don't know. I don't think birds can be citizens yet. But with headlines like that, I'm going to put a ring on it, humans. Was back in January 29th of 2022. Massive brawl breaks out in Ben Salem Golden Corral over alleged steak shortage. Now, you don't pull your hair back and go ham on me with that kind of spectacular verbiage and not expect me to flame broil my search history, Googling until I scare the hell out of my internet provider, whilst also writing a Netflix pitch, which I have. And before I read it to you, I'm going to need a verbal agreement from everyone here that you will not discuss the following plot or possible casting choices with anyone outside the discussion, because it'd be a jerk move. Also, I wrote it, so be cool, okay? Okay, so first the facts so far as we know them. Friday, January 28th, it was in the evening, a balmy 32 degrees, but it felt like 27. The 1400 block of Street Road in Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, where we lay our scene. Police were called to the Golden Corral in between the Chick-fil-A and the Aldi. These police were called to investigate a little tussle, a scrap, a rumble that went down. You see, a 40-person brawl at a Golden Corral. which is something that happens from time to time. It's something that you like, if you live like by a fault line, you got to expect a tremor every now and then. Seems someone was none too happy in line at the Golden Corral waiting for their steaks, because when you want a steak from the Golden Corral, you are not in the mood to be messed with, so don't go messing with someone in line at the Golden Corral waiting for steaks. Those are fighting words. Dylan Becker, well, he saw it all. The former employee himself told CBS 3, quote, "There were two parties in line waiting for steak. Someone had cut in front and started being picky and finicky about the steaks and taking it so long. And then someone else spoke up and said something I guess the other party didn't like. And then it just looked like it turned into an all-out brawl." He went on to say, quote, "I've never seen nothing like that in a Golden Corral before," which should have been a warning to all of us here in 2025, because April and May was a hell of a year. That should have tipped us off that it wasn't going to get any better, that things at the Golden Corral were getting rough. Now, Dylan's friend Gavin, he saw it all go down too. He says, quote, "There was a shortage of steak, and two parties were involved, and one family cut in front of another family, and they were taking their time, and they ran out of steak, and it got into a heated exchange at the table." And if that doesn't corroborate what Dylan was saying, well, I don't know what to tell you. There was a vid taken because the TikTok Ranger is ever vigilant, ever stalwart, and the vid is not for the faint of heart, but definitely fans of Cobra Kai. 40 or more in a tornado of tables, high chairs, fists flying, a storm of chaos that was, yes, even too much for the Golden Corral. At the end, as the flatware and sweetener packets settle, you can hear a man say to anyone who would listen, quote, "All I wanted was some steak." JK Hospitality LLC, they're the franchisee, you see, told Today Food, quote, "We notified the local authorities and they're investigating the incident. Thankfully, no serious injuries were reported. The safety of our guests and our co-workers is our top priority." And I don't know if I'm surprised that the hospitality company running the Golden Corral was called JK Hospitality. I figure that's just a front for a guy dressed like Boss Hogg from Dukes of Hazzard. And he's on like Trump's short list for beef czar or whatever. But while it is true there was no serious injury and everybody walked away musted and dusted with a little awesome pot roast and carrot cake, there's talk that maybe this was not about them running out of steak, but rather it was a personal issue involving, quote, "a person who ordered a well-done steak thought that the person in line behind them who ordered a rare steak got their steak first and cut the line." The investigation is ongoing. So I figure where my Apple TV show picks up, we're 4 days later. There's a cloud of suspicion all over Ben Salem. The detectives are no closer to finding out what started the punch-out at the Golden Corral, racking their heads like pool balls together. The atmosphere is tight. Bam! Door opens. It's Walton Goggins. He looks panicked, and he should be. Turns out there's someone putting a chemical in the steak that turns people real wild, feral, listening to Charlie Kirk, doing CrossFit, making noises almost zombie-like, but let's not jump to conclusions. Anyway, snap zoom to Goggins' face. He sneers, "You guys gotta see this." We cut to the police station. Walton Goggins walks confidently past all the cops with a look that says, "You don't know who you're messing with." Slams a map down on the desk in the chief's office. On the map is a circle spreading out with little dotted lines connecting every county. My God! The police chief grumbles, "They're everywhere." Goggins slams his hand down on the table. "Damn it! That's what I was trying to tell you! It's the meat!" A police chief collapses in his chair. "The stakes have never been higher." Yeah, take it in. Take it in. Yeah. And that's just the first act. Is he right? Is he crazy? Both. Was it a steak shortage or was it the steaks were cooked wrong? It could be anyone, but in the end, it wasn't the steaks at all. It was pride. Pride was the real killer here. And as the camera pans up to the sky, we black out on a single paragraph. A text appears in the blackness. Nothing beside remained. Around the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sand stretched far away. We're getting Ludwig Göransson to do the music, so it's going to be like pan flutes and epic, but with like complex emotional core. Could this be a multi-seasonal thing? I mean, we got a plan, obviously, but personally, I think this is a standalone miniseries. But that's just me. I'm a simple bird. And all of this is probably going to change when we get more details. But just for a blessed second, can we have these crazy stories, innocent and pure, be about a 40-person brawl that broke out over steak at a Golden Corral? We have had so much devastating truth and disappointment and hard lessons come at the back end of hilarious news stories lately that we're like due for a fun one, right? Can we not just have deeper, darker, horrible details come to light for just one story? Can we live in a dream for a moment that this is just hilarious and not deeply troubling and horrible? Can I get a verbal agreement that we're just going to let this exist, beautiful and free? I know I should have standards for the head I want, but sometimes you got to be grateful for the head you're getting. And humans, we have us a bit of an issue in the relationship, but you give the best headlines. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Thanks, legit dogs. You're legit.